Hello, welcome to the Dylan Hildreth Show. I am your host, Dylan Hildreth, and we are going to go over some college football realignment, some fantasy booking, if you will, in regards to the realignment. And then we're going to talk about something I saw very interesting on Twitter that I see makes no sense. So let's move into the conference realignment. As everybody and their cousin knows at this point, Oklahoma and Texas are off to the SEC. Good for them. That is the best move for the both of them. We'll see how Texas handles not being the prettiest girl in the room. I find that to be the most interesting dynamic of this, since now whenever Texas can yell, they're not all going to jump. They're probably just going to say, "Okay, yeah, right." So that'll be a new interesting dynamic that Texas has never had to deal with. So who knows? Could be a little interesting. But now with this move, the Big Ten is now in the spotlight. What do they do to catch up? What I would do is go after USC, Iowa State, Notre Dame, Clemson, Miami, and TCU, and make it a 20-team conference right then and there. Go after Clemson because they are the biggest brand. They're one of the bigger brands left that is not in the SEC. Same with the USC. And you get an interesting, fun rivalry with Ohio State and Clemson that you could have each and every year. I would bring in USC to bring in, it brings in a massive brand, gets the Big Ten network to the LA market, and you can have some fun, nostalgic games like with USC Penn State, USC Michigan, USC Ohio State, TCU gets your footprint in Texas, maybe helps revitalize Nebraska a little bit and brings that big brand back to what it needs to be. Because when Nebraska left the Big 12, well, that also cut off the pipeline to Texas. And bringing in a TCU or a Texas Tech, that would not only help with recruiting, but it also gets you another quality team in there. Notre Dame, for obvious reasons, they are the biggest brand in college football. They are the last true independent standing that's actually making a boatload of money. And the inherent rivalries that are in the Big Ten as far with Notre Dame, Michigan, Michigan State, and the rivalry that's been developing between Notre Dame and Clemson, albeit one-sided, but still two big brands that you can have go against each other under the Big Ten umbrella. That is what I would do if I was in charge of the Big Ten. So, moving on to the interesting tweet that I mentioned earlier is by Austin Gale of the PFF. He has the most underrated teams, in his opinion. In the SEC, Missouri. Okay, they're going to go from finishing fifth to finishing third. Maybe. If they can get by Kentucky and Tennessee. And I'm not sold on that. Tennessee, we'll see how the quarterback situation shakes out. I don't know. I just got a weird feeling about Tennessee. I think they're going to be better than what people say they are, and I think they're going to be better than what I even think. Not good enough to make some real noise, but I could see them being better than Kentucky. And then in the ACC, Georgia Tech. Still learning how to run the spread offense. I think if you want an underrated team in the ACC, you look no further than the guys in Tallahassee. Florida State is going to make some noise. They are going to beat a team or two that they should not beat. Mackenzie Milton is a massive game changer. He will be the one that takes Florida State back and puts them back on the map. In the Big Ten, Indiana. You're not going on a limb here. Everybody and their cousin knows how good Indiana is. They took Ohio State. They almost came back on Ohio State. If you want a real underrated team in the Big Ten, you look at Rutgers. Rutgers has a lot of people coming back. They have a phenomenal coach. Look no further than the oldest team in college football, Rutgers. And the Big 12 really going out on a limb there. Texas. Texas is underrated. No, they got a new coach. They got to bring in a new quarterback. They do have a lot of guys coming back, but they're maybe the third best team in the Big 12, but they're going to stub their toe on somebody they shouldn't. So they'll probably end up finishing fourth, possibly fifth. They're not underrated. They're overrated. Let's be honest. They're always overrated. And it's sad because I really do like Texas. I like the burnt orange. I like the heart that Texas has for football. I love the history, the tradition of it. And then I do think they could figure it out. I do believe that Steve Sarkisian will figure it out. He's fresh out of the coaching rehab institution of Tuscaloosa. So, but give him a year, give him two, and then we'll revisit Texas. And then in the Pac-12, really going on a limb here. The last year 5-1 USC being completely underrated. No, everybody knows they're pretty good. Some people have them in the Pac-12 championship game. Some have them winning the Pac-12. I obviously do not. I have Arizona State. But, I mean, I wouldn't say USC is underrated. People have them at about the right spot. USC is a very good team, I think. And, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they won the Pac-12. It is not a shocking, underrated team. If you want an underrated team from the Pac-12, I would go more UCLA. I think UCLA can make some noise. I would say maybe Stanford, but UCLA and Stanford, great coaches. Chip Kelly, he's on the hot seat. Good coach like that, when it's do or die, they usually do. I wouldn't rule out some miracle run by UCLA to go off and win the Pac-12. Albeit, I don't see that happening, but after the year and a half we've had, anything's possible. But I just found it interesting. that some of those teams that Austin Gale has is not really underrated at all. They're just really weird. I don't know what's going on with PFF. When they do like hot takes like that, it's just so far off. It's just weird. But anyway, thanks for watching. The social media will be in the description, and I will see you next time.